For all of them as we move through the night. So first and foremost, we're using thermal imaging tonight. So this is a FLIR, like legitimate, like Pro 1 camera. This is what firemen use to actually help save people. Like, this is the real deal. This is not a phone app. So you should be able to see me in this camera, right? Red, orange, and yellow guy. Gabrielle, you look really nervous over there, girl. You're gonna be perfectly fine. I'll give you a nice, easy job, no worries. So with that said, we're looking for blue and black spots to take shape on their own. So anything that shows up blue and black, this is set up to white hot, black cold. Sorry, fellas, but by the way, red, orange, and yellow guy, that means I'm the hottest thing in the video. So look at that. Aha, mostly ladies tonight too. That works. Cool. So the blue and black. Now, does this capture something every single night? Not necessarily, but when we do capture it, it's a holy cow moment. So we're going to record with this through most of the night. We're going to do a few starts and stops just based on our temperature, and the FLIR hardware is great, but the software for it is horrible. So I don't want to lose any footage. So Steven, we're going to actually do a couple of starts and stops. I'll give you the cues for that, just so you know, but that's the red square that's on there. It is recording right now, so everybody kind of knows how to watch this video. So go ahead and hang on to that horizontally for me. Again, treat it just like a cell phone. Your hand went right over the camera. Good job. Everybody does it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you just want to be a nice cameraman.
Gotcha.
So there is a blue dot bouncing around that screen. The blue dot is going to give you the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. So it kind of helps give us where to direct our eye when you guys get your video back. So it's a very cool video to watch. And again, I splice all of the little videos together so you only have one thermal imaging video. So let's get on to the next camera and we'll get both of those out.
See the motor in the Jeep? See, it's hot.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
See that? It picks up the motor.
Oh, that's so cool. Oh, look at that.
See the motor? Oh.
Yeah, it means it just parked there not so long ago because it's probably warm. Alright, this next camera is an upgraded, I love this guy. We've only been using it for about a week now. So let me show off this guy. You should not be able to see me in that little tiny GoPro right there. I know it's a small screen, so it should be pretty dark in there. So just kind of go around the horn for everybody to look at a black screen. Yes, I know, very exciting. So the screen should have lit up purple at this point. So you should be able to pretty much see everything around me at this point. So I just lit up 24 LEDs of infrared lighting. The hope here is that we're going to be able to capture things that we normally would not be able to see with our own eyes because we can't see the lights with our own eyes. We need the camera in order to do that. So love, love, love this camera. We actually just, I don't know how it compacted it because the other one was kind of a chunky mess. Like, it was really ugly and it was very hard to handle. This is a nice compacted version. So Miss Marla, this one's actually going to go to you.
Okay.
So you're going to hang on to that. Nice slow movements out of that too. It does have some weight to it. Don't be afraid of it. But again, we're not recording with yours yet. So what I'm going to tell you is I normally don't hand the cameras to the tallest people either. This is funny. So the reason why I don't do that is because some people don't like themselves to be filmed because we're going to be in some spaces where there's going to be some, obviously, people walking around. People also don't like their cars to be filmed. So if I do like a Andy's coming, right? Like, you know, from Toy Story. So Steven, you're basically going to be playing with a cell phone very discreetly. And then of course, Marla, you're going to point yours straight at the ground with the handle. So basically, yeah, you just hold it right at your side. Perfect. Just like that. So people do live up there. It's the only reason I wanted to bring that up right away. So again, it's kind of one of those, we are going to be a little discreet throughout the evening just because we are going to be hitting some odd spaces. So let's get into so spirit boxes. Let's start breaking into those because I want to make sure I have one in every group. Spirit boxes are a way for us to communicate with the dead. So these are super, super fun to play with. Gabrielle's like, no, not talking to dead people.
I'm like, I want to do that one.
So, if you guys watch the TV shows or YouTube videos, you know that this is mainly going to be white noise. And then your TV show host will put up what he thinks he heard in the middle of the screen trying to convince you of the same thing. So basically, we're going to be using this to try to convey messages through song lyrics, DJs, and commercials because mine are slowed down on purpose. If I hand this over to GAE and she's listening to this all night long, and it's just white noise, plus with the history I'm going to give her, she's going to fall asleep. So the other method you can use is to allow those, we slow the chatter down. We want it to slip through. So in the event that something actually comes through, like welcome to Charleston, listen to Rock 104, I want to know those are the types of things we're hearing. First off, welcome might be a term that we might need, so might rock. Does that make sense to everybody? It's all about what are the song lyrics and DJs and commercials saying back to us. Now for you guys, this is going to seem very fast, but it is as slow as I can possibly set it. This is a communication device, and we're going to talk more about these as we kind of go throughout the night. So, Gae, do you want to try to give this one a try? So, she's going to have a set of earbuds in, just one, by the way. She's going to be the only one to hear it in real time. The cool thing is that this is recording the entire session. You're all going to get this recording back tomorrow morning. I'm going to write down whatever she hears in real time, and then spot check it tomorrow morning and give you more markers. So, again, fresh set of earbuds. I don't want them back. Again, I buy them in bulk, and your volume button is right here. So, again, it's a wheel, so you just have to turn that wheel. But you have to undo the twist tie first on your earbuds. So your earwax is gross, and you get to keep those.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. So I do have 2 of these, and we are going to use both of them. So come on, as soon as it starts up. Now, Melanie?
Yes.
Yours is not going to record. So I'm going to be relying on you in real time on what you hear to write down. Giving you guys like 4 hours of the radio chatter is a little much, so we're going to go with 2 hours only. But again, your volume button, I'm making sure it's turned all the way down. It's a wheel right here where my finger is, and then you just undo your twist tie for your earbuds.
Okay.
Gabrielle, you're fine.
The only reason why I'm freaked out is because I went to the prison once with my dad. We like
Okay.
actually saw an apparition, so I'm freaked out.
As you should, because the place is very, very haunted. Uber. So the next spirit box we don't actually have to listen to. So this one's going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. If you guys watch the TV shows, this would be known as an ovulus.
Yes.
So ovulus basically has 2,048 terms in it. This one has 36,000. That's 18 times the amount of terms and phrases that are inside of it. So it's going to save all of those terms to a list. Last tour I did only had 60 terms. It's actually it's pretty light. I normally get about 75 in a 2-hour time frame. But with this, 80% of it is not going to mean anything. It's going to be garbage, right? Because this is a phone app. We are hopefully going to be getting the conveyed messages from our spirit world to be able to tell us of what's going on inside that location or about the person that's actually haunting the location. So with that, Ryan, I'm going to hand this one over to you. So I will come to you when I want to see things, okay?
Ryan, don't touch it. Don't
No, he's
touch
okay. He's all right. Again, he can't hurt it. I'm curious to see what actually pops up out of that guy. Stacy, I'm handing you this one on purpose based on our conversation.
Oh, is this the one?
So this is also a spirit box, but it is going to sweep through the FM and AM radio stations simultaneously and attempt to take out the white noise.
Okay.
This is only going to give us about 10 to 12 terms tonight. 75% of those terms will be accurate to our location. Unlike the word list that I just handed over to Ryan, it's only 20% accurate. So, again, one of the other reasons I'm giving this one over to you and why I handed Steven that camera is because this one does not record, but his records audio. So if you miss something, you'll have the audio on the thermal imaging camera. Does that make sense?
That's awesome.
So the only thing you need to worry about is how to hold it upright. The blinking lights are the top.
Right.
On the
okay.
right-hand side is the mute button. It's the only button there. I've already muted it. I'll kind of give you the cue of when we can unmute it.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank
Nice,
you.
easy one. And it's light.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Which team does not have a spirit box? All right. So we're going to try this method too. Lauren, yours is open air, so that way everybody can kind of listen in. So that means you're not going to have an earbud in. It also does not record anything. So you have to control the volume yourself. It's on the ball speaker. So if you can see where my finger is right there, kind of wavering around, there's a little button. If you hold it down, obviously we want to keep it down when I'm talking to the whole group. I'll say when the cue is when you can actually turn the volume up. What's kind of cool about the way you guys are set up is because obviously Marla's, I don't know if this is mom, I don't know what the relationship is here. If mom's camera is going to record the audio just the same way I did Miss Stacy and Steven, but this way you and Ryan can actually compare what he's got on his list versus what you're hearing. So again, this is the upright, just so you know, so you see the screen, and there's a little button right there. Just kind of get a feel for where that guy is at. It's
So
on
I
the side of the
just
ball
mute it.
speaker.
It's muted now, and then I unmute it, and then I mute it again.
You're all red, but
Yeah,
your
so you
water's
would hold
blue.
it up, like you'd almost roll
That's
it
the
and
coldest.
just hold it
I
there.
mean, it's doing just what he said.
What else do I have going on here?
Oh, I see.
All right, so Miss Mary, you're going to be double fisted down there. Yes. So you guys have all seen these on television, right? This is an electromagnetic field detector. So the gist behind these is it's going to measure any kind of electrical anything from your cell phones, parking meters, buildings, that kind of thing. So the gist behind these is that the spirit world can actually manipulate electrical currents. So we're going to be looking for any kind of pulses out of this. We're not going to be looking for rhythms. I use this one to actually debunk a lot of things. So the nice thing is that I gave Miss GAE over here a set of earbuds, so that way you two can actually listen together.
Okay.
But I'm also giving you a digital camera. So the digital camera doesn't have a flash on it. I want you to take tons and tons of pictures throughout the night. Take hundreds. I don't care. I'm going to go through them all anyway.
Okay.
So again, touristy photos, non-touristy photos, it doesn't matter. I don't normally hand this to teenagers because they don't know what the hell it is. So, so you are actually double-fisted. But you can also help Miss GAE listen in by taking one of her earbuds.
So what am I doing with this?
You just hold it and let me know what colors you see out of it.
Oh, okay.
That one's easy. You have two easy jobs, but you do have two jobs.
Okay.
The point and shoot, obviously the team button is to shoot.
Yeah.
If it goes off, the button next to it turns it back on. Okay. You got it. Gabrielle?
Yes.
I saved you for last.
Okay.
I'm going to keep you busy, girl.
That's good. My house was haunted as a kid, so that's one. So
You'll be fine. You're going to actually help prove or debunk a lot of things that are going on inside the entire group. So this particular device is called a MEL meter. So it does have an EMF detector built into it, just like Miss Mary's. So anything on the big numbers comes up at 2.5 or higher, I want to know what's going on. The reason why is because 2.5 would be Miss Mary's first indication of anything actually happening. The bottom number is ambient temperature. If Steven finds something on his camera, you and I can prove it or debunk it with this little yellow probe right here at the top. So we're going to find the cold spot and see if it's coming from air conditioning, does a car just go by, like what's the case. The last thing that it has is a REM pod, or a motion sensor. So the antenna I just pulled out, if something gets close to it, it's going to go off. I am not touching it right now. Now I am. So there's different colors in there and all kinds of like call and answer type things we can do with that, but that could be very annoying when I'm trying to talk about history. So for now, I just want you focused on the numbers on your red screen, and the same thing over here. You can steal her earbud to help her listen in on that, because especially that one.
So this just keeps scrolling
all
through the
night
channels.
long. Yep.
and then 2.5. to let you know.
2.5. You got it.
Okay.
All right.
But don't mess with the antenna, right?
Not yet. I'm going to
Okay.
show you more about it.
Awesome.
All right, guys. Go have fun. Steven's in charge. No, I'm kidding.
Tell her trouble.
Your two devices would be good. Find the ghost.
You guys made the bag much later, so thank you for that on this nice humid night. So let's talk about why we started here. But of course I'm going to need a drink first, because you guys are going to make me talk all night, because I'm pretty sure it's my job to talk all night. Big John's behind me. That's the reason why we started here. This used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. You can see why they named it Big John's, right? He owned the place. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Whenever I'm giving you the
I'm a Giants fan.
Whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I will do my best to slow down on specific keywords for all of the spirit boxes that are in play tonight. So, in this location, it would be 47, New York, Giants, anything relatable to a bar, and obviously the name John. So, with that said, he used to sit in the back of the bar, and he would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, two guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has the bartender throw them out. They leave pretty angry, and they come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on. He slams down his beer. He goes over and just starts pounding these guys into the floor, beating the heck out of them. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck, and the bullet lands behind him in the wall. He gets up after being shot. He's the only one that's been shot, by the way. Goes back to the bar, tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the two guys on the floor in ambulance. Now, normally, when I tell you that there's a haunted building, you all think of some kind of tragic death. What's haunting this place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if it's not, if the new Big John's that we're staring at right now, the new renovation filled in that bullet hole, Big John's blood is still here. People that sit in the front of this bar tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or a headache. This is kind of your heated morning. Granted, this is probably one of the most humid nights we're ever going to see this summer. But if anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately so we can get that person to safety. Is that fair? Again, this is probably the scariest thing I'm going to tell you because it deals with your own health. But again, this is a crazy humid night. And again, we'll do our best to get that person water. I'll look for something nearby, whatever we got to do. I'll probably blame it on the humidity, just so you guys know. But it has happened in the past where people have, I've called paramedics. Not to put a big scare into anybody, but Marla's looking at me like, holy cow, what did I sign up for? So, let's get our mind off our own health. Big earthquake here in 1886. If you didn't already know that from another history tour, now you do. It's a big deal for us because we don't get earthquakes, we get hurricanes. But the building, Big John's, This is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. A piece of the mantle broke off that you see in the middle of the building, hit somebody in the back of the head, killed them, and they say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street. I said apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof. It's just a great segue, so Marla's not thinking about getting sick on the tour. So, now that I brought it up again, right? Is everybody ready to go ghost hunting?
Yes.
All right, let's go up this way. You guys are going to be a lot of fun. We're going to stick on video.
Yes, you will.
Make sure you apply
I love working in the dark.
Okay. Good new people. Sorry, we just showed up.
I already have all my folks.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Are
You're
from
probably
Big
looking-
John's?
Yes.
That's you're in the wrong spot.
Oh, sorry. What? Do you know where that would be?
This one.
You're looking
Okay.
for Bulldog tours?
Yes.
Yeah, that's 2 blocks up, make a
Oh, okay,
left.
thank you so much. I'm
You're
so
welcome.
sorry.
You're good.
He has all his people.
Well, the funny thing is my competitors don't do head counts and they don't know who they have.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's part of the reason why I learn your names very quickly.
Oh.
So that way I know I have the right people. Yeah. A lot of times if I all of a sudden don't have somebody that showed up, like you guys showed up late and we were getting started, I kind of assume you may have started another tour because that tour guide's not paying attention. So, and it's happened in the past. So,
This isn't broke. It went to 5.5.
oh, awesome. That's great news.
5.5.
So
5.5.
be writing that down. Keep that number in the top of your head. Let me kind of get through this here, and we're going to talk some more. Perfect. So we're already getting a little bit of something going on. Obviously, she's not near any electrical currents, just so everybody knows. That is not any kind of natural part of EMF. That is obviously something she was. So, why are we here? We're at the Big Red Barn lot. Notice my voice dropped. We are next to where the horses are kept for your carriage rides. They can hear us, which is part of the reason why we use earbuds with our spirit boxes and why I have the other 2 open air spirit boxes muted at this point. So, with that, the only history here I have is very simple. I knew it that way so I could talk to you more about your devices. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. Obviously, key words here being delivery, milk, eggs, anything relatable to a stable. So let's talk about spirit boxes because all of them are in play, which is kind of nice. We have all 6 of them out, by the way. I don't always get the chance to put all 6 out because I have a bunch of other things still in the bag that I kind of mix up a little bit. So everybody wants to ask the same question when they get a communication device. What do you guys think that question is?
Who are you?
Or
Why are you here?
What's your name?
is somebody here?
Okay.
Right? That's the example I'm trying to get out of you. The reason I try to get that one specifically is because if Miss GAE over here hears the answer no, that means somebody's here. So we are not going to be asking yes or no questions all night long. We are going after specifics. Even if you're a skeptic here among the group, just here to have some fun, you're not going to get any paranormal proof out of yes and no questions. So I would normally tell my folks, we're not going to stay here long, by the way, because I want to deep dive into much deeper history than ponies and football players, but I would say ask questions you already know the answers to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we're looking and listening for the color red. I say looking because Ryan has a word list. So, however, song lyrics, DJs, and commercials don't always have the word red available to them to be able to answer you right away. But, looks like your camera shut off. Hit the button next to the shoot bag.
Got it.
There you go.
Yeah.
You got it. So, but fire truck, blood, heart, those 3 things are specifically red. I would take that as an acceptable answer. If Stacy asked what color is the Big Red Barn and the word blood came out of it, I'd be good with that. However, there are 9 people out here tonight with 10 devices. We are going to at least verify it with one other piece of happening going on to be able to verify. Another example. Let's say Ryan's word list has the word art on it while we're standing here. That doesn't mean anything to our location. But, Lauren, here's the number 40. That doesn't mean anything by itself either. Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team if you put the 2 terms together. Does that make sense? and it's about out of 2 different devices. Again, I would still probably look for another term, something like football or whatever his position was, maybe his year of birth, something along those lines. But again, minimum of 2 pieces of something going on, including EMF readings. So, spirit boxes, I hope you have a much better gist of how to listen to those, but we're going to talk more about those one-on-one. Let's talk about cameras. So we're going to start with Stevens because you got yours first. So you're going to try to do 2 things for us. I know I told you not to like film people, but I do want you to try to keep one of us in view. The reason why is we're going to be literally the warmest thing out here. I know it's 1,000 degrees out here for us already, but we are still going to be the warmest thing out here. So with that, that's going to give us the array of color. And it's much easier to find cold spots when we have that array of color. I'm looking for 15+ degree temperature drops when I'm going through that video. The other thing you're going to try to do is keep the sky out to view. The reason why is because the blue dot that I told you about with the cold spot in the frame is going to automatically default to the sky because there's no surface. So again, some of these spaces that might be impossible, just do your best. The slower you move with that camera, the easier it is to watch, just so you know. Marla, you're next. So your camera is very easy as well. So basically we're looking for anomalies. Your camera so far has about 50-50 been able to pick up an orb pretty much on most nights. It's been like a 50% shot that I'll find an orb of some sort. And I'm not talking like a bug flying by, I'm talking an orb, like passing through, like large, slow, changing movements, those kind of things. Again, with yours, the slower the movements, the better. The darker the corners for you is obviously going to be the better video for everybody because it's much harder to see with our own eyes in dark spaces. You can see everything. So when we get to that next space, I'll start your recording and then I'll show you how to like obviously turn it on and off, but we're going to leave it running once we get to the next space for quite a while, just so you know. Everybody have a basic gist of how to use their devices, I think?
Yeah, you just tell us when to turn it on, right?
Oh yeah, I will. You can unmute it as we're walking. So same thing with you, Lauren. You can turn it up a little bit until we get to our next space. It's literally right across this parking lot, across the street. So you got like a 3 to 5 minute chance to kind of get used to how it actually sweeps through it. So let's go up to our next spot, 5.5, right? Anything else in that? Button right there, and it will show you all the words that you have. So the only thing I see so far is yeah, we do have a full moon tonight, and it is a strawberry moon.
Is mine going?
Yeah.
What's that?
Is mine going?
It did something here. There we go. So
is it on mute or?
it's still on mute for now, but you weren't sweeping on the AM stations for some odd reason. You may have tapped something by accident. It happens all the time.
But I hit this button here, right?
No, it's on the right-hand side, right here.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's
Man, they both hang.
Already. Nice. Perfect. So, do you
You
guys
gotta
want an
keep it
explanation of
upright,
what those
but-
readings actually mean before I get into the history of the location? Yeah. Alright, so basically what's going on with those, they're basically, like I said, they're reading electromagnetic fields, so electrical devices are going to make them go off. For example, behind your television set, you have a bunch of wires. So if you were to put one of these devices behind there, so Miss Mary's or Gabrielle's, you'll probably get about yours would maxed out because it only goes to 25, but you can get a 40 to 60 milligauss reading behind your TV. Just to kind of give you like what that actually means. Your microwave running on high will give you about 150 to 170. The highest I've ever seen that device go has been in this location, which I'm going to get into in a minute. It's been at 214. It's like putting your head inside the microwave. Very dangerous levels, just so you know. And it's only been one time that it's ever been that high, but again, you still can't account for, we've already got a 4.7 in a space where there's no electrical current whatsoever. So let's get into the space. Welcome to a parking lot. Congratulations, you made it. I told you I'm taking y'all to some weird spaces. So again, we're luckily in great shape tonight because there's only a few cars in here. But those of you with cameras, if you want to just keep them, where the cars are, you don't want to stop your cameras on those cars, so to speak. Oh, look at that, beautiful. So we want to film Mary's car. No, I'm kidding.
You're free to.
So luckily for us, what's nice is that we can pretty much stay on this half of that. So what is this space? Well, I guess I should first start with spirit boxes. I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the red barn. Again, you will be getting the answers from your spirit boxes, and yes, I will withhold information on purpose, so that way you guys actually have a genuine experience. Is that fair? Yeah, I don't want to bring some random messages out there. So, this used to be the Charles and Eliza Pinckney Mansion site. It used to sit in the front of this space. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant, came all the way across, and we are standing where the servant and slave quarters used to be for the home. So, who the heck were these people? Charles and Eliza had a son named Charles, they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. You guys see why I look for those secondary verifiers? Because I never know which Charles I'm talking to. I need to know which one it is. So, with that, the son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us. However, I hate politics more than everybody here. So, we're going to move on. Eliza. We're going to talk about Eliza. Again, the spaces we're going to, folks, we're here at these locations because of the raised emotion of things that actually occurred in these locations. So, Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards. If you folks are going to be asking how old she was when she got married, do not expect numbers like 12 and 14 like were the colonial times that she came from. It's going to be according to today's standards. And the reason I bring it up is because Charles, her husband, was over double her age. So you can ask either way. Big age gap back then, big age gap now. But she married him because her father, over in England, thought he was dying. And he's trying to bring all of his children home one last time. She didn't think he was dying, so she stayed put. You don't get married in 1744 for a green card or citizenship because we're not a country yet. She did marry him out of love. But she was also correct. Her father did not die right away. He started sending her gifts instead to this space. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've seen the word indigo somewhere. I can guarantee it. But indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes her blue jeans blue. Is anybody wearing it? No, nobody's wearing it tonight. So look at that. But anyway, that's what, when she got it, she didn't know what to do with it. She learned from her slaves how to keep it cultivated. It's not always hot here, I promise you that. It does get cold. So once she figured it out, she moved it to a plantation just north of here. Calls her dad and says, rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing with this indigo. We now have an international businesswoman during colonial times. That's her business. Let's get into the weird stuff. So, there's a lot of questions you can ask. I think I'm going to assign tonight specific questions to see what's going to come out of specific spirit boxes. I've been getting a lot of feedback lately that I just throw all these questions out and we never know who's asking what. So we're going to start over here with 2 different spirit boxes. I want you guys to focus on what Eliza's maiden name used to be. Here's why. She was the second wife named Eliza from Charles back to back. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. Ask what the maiden name was, and maybe ask what the ages were when she married Charles, and see if you guys can actually get some answers out of your 2 spirit boxes. The mansion's not here anymore, so we're going to go with you on this one, Miss Stacy. If you get an answer of what happened to the mansion, obviously you can ask when did that happen. We're looking obviously for a date. Even the year will suffice at this point. It's a very specific number. So again, we're going to focus on that. And again, if you guys want to ask any other question, I'm trying to make it as simple as I possibly can so you're not getting this plethora of questions. As far as the 2 of you go, the children, there's at least one, right? Charles, I told you about, there's more. You can ask how many and what their names were. The reason why that's it is because there's a tragedy among those kids. If we poke the bear, we know to blame you. All activity will stop, including the EMF readings that we're getting. Have you gotten anything on yours yet, Miss Mary? Nothing yet? But again, try to get the names of the children out of Eliza. If you start getting the names, obviously this is a new method I'm trying because, again, we have 4 groups. We basically have 4 different sets of questions. Eliza's death is going over to the 2 of you here. You can ask her how old she was, where she's buried, what she died from, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. very important questions here,
happened in the
folks.
house
These are
and when
questions
did
that
it
I
happen?
commonly get the answers to. If you go rogue and ask your own questions, make sure that there are things that we can actually prove. Again, I can't tell you how she felt about certain things. Again, there's no records of that other than how much love she had for her husband. So we are going to spread out in this lot to take maybe 5 to 10 minutes based on the amount of things that you guys are finding. If I'm not seeing like a whole lot of coming out of you guys, we'll call it up and then we'll go on to our next space. But I will give you the answers before we leave. I'm not going to leave everybody hanging. So I do have to work with Miss Gabrielle to show them how to use that REM pod. So everybody else, spread out. Make sure you're filming Mary's car. All right. So,
What happened in the pink house? What happened in the pink house? What happened in the pink house? I have something over here. You see any heat over here? Cold? Do you have anything cold? Is there any cool place over You have any cold over here? Over here. Cold.
how's that going? You getting anything out of there yet?
Yeah.
What you got?
Just a bunch of kind of like a, it sounded like somebody spitting in a spittoon cup.
Oh, that's interesting. So like tobacco.
Kind of like in a tin or something. And
Yeah.
I asked what happened. It was mostly the year it happened. I got some
Got some
kinda
static out of it.
yeah, static, yeah.
Okay. Again, it doesn't always give us super like active things, but those 10 to 12 terms will pop up in a few hours time. All right.
just hear a bunch of radio, like,
Okay, then that's what you want.
yeah.
So again, you're listening for those song lyrics and DJs, and you can make out a song lyric, whatever somebody's singing. If you're calling the card, you know, that's the kind of sound.
I heard Harry Styles is calling that as well.
Show us where you are. Come out. Come out. Come out and say where you are. We want to see you.
Slow movements. Look at you. You're a pro too. I'll give you all jobs.
Hello, guys.
I'm Bob.
Are you guys ghost hunting?
We are.
I knew it. Did you find anything? Any spirits? Any
No.
normal vibrations?
What happened to your house? When did it happen? What happened to your house?
Eliza, what did you grow in your garden?
And then here in the front, I think that here in the radio station. Whoa.
Theirs isn't like super active like the other two.
Well, I have more activity through here than over there and over there. Not as much in the back.
All right, let's get everybody to the back. I'm going to start giving you guys the answers to all of these crazy questions.
Do we turn it off?
Mm-mm.
Said hibiscus.
You heard hibiscus?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Do we turn it off?
No, leave it on. She's got something going on here. What else do you want to know?
I just asked if she's sad that this is a parking lot as opposed to her home.
Of course, that's a yes or no answer.
But then I asked what you grow and what was your favorite plant or flower.
Hibiscus. Interesting. Can't prove that, but it's a direct answer. We're going to take it. What do you got going on?
11-7.
11. Maybe I should ask where she's from.
Eliza, do you want to tell her what color those hibiscus flowers were? How much?
Eliza, what color were the hibiscuses? I heard blush.
No, have you heard anything on Charlie? Charlie?
It's like John chapter 20.
What?
You heard John
Yeah.
in chapter 20.
Yeah.
Big John's football jersey number was 20.
Yeah. John chapter 20.
I might have been John instead of Wild too.
Charlie.
Yes.
Charlie. Wow.
He has Gabriel on here.
Boy.
Gabriel.
Gabriel or Gabriel?
Gabriel.
Gabriel.
Can I see the spelling?
Of course she wasn't saying so. Say Gabriel or
Gabriel.
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 Don't say that.
I'm a ghost hunt. I have to
No,
ask.
she does believe, and she has for years.
It's not that I don't.
She's got, there's something attached. So.
Don't say that.
I'm sorry, but she has.
So I'm excited probably most about John chapter 20. So I will tell you, yeah, out of everything you guys have heard, and possibly we might have on the video so far, we did have a 37. So I mean that's exciting too. But the John chapter 20, like I don't take anything within the current year because it's too easy. For example, if it said buy a 2022 Dodge today, right? And we just talked about the number 22 from Eliza's birth year. So 22, I would take it out if, like, I would omit it if it was part of this year because it's just too easy. But you heard John chapter 20. So that's obviously John and his first jersey number of number 20. So obviously I'm going to be looking for his second jersey number, which is 52. And it was only a year later. So again, very specific. See why we hold information? And why I say no matter how silly of what you guys think you're hearing, it's going to be relevant here. So obviously I think we have a little bit going on with the garden that I just said. Again, I want more out of it. This is very specific insight. So we want that. So let's go to that. We've got
You actually hear something on that?
Yeah, it keeps saying wait. I keep hearing the word wait too.
Wait.
Wait.
A lot of times my folks will hear different directions. Turn around. Look here. Sorry. So whenever I'm breaking out the tablet, I will always kind of go around the horn so everybody can kind of see what's going on. That way you guys don't have to feel like you need to rush up against me. This is Eliza Lucas Pinckney. Obviously the maiden name being Lucas. She married Charles at the age of 22. You see why 22 is relevant here two ways. You're going to find out about her birthday here in a second. But the first wife, her name was Eliza Lamb. So Lamb and Lucas were the two maiden names. I've gotten both of them obviously on different spirit boxes from time to time. This Eliza married Charles at the age of 22. Charles was 45. 23-year age difference between the two of them. Anybody get the answer of what actually happened to the mansion? Who was asking that question? It burned down. So the only photograph we have of this mansion was the fact that it burned down in the Great Fire of 1861. We will get the full date of that fire, which was December 11th, 1861 from time to time. It might not be the word December, but we'll get the number 12. So 12/11/61 will show up in the same night along with the word fire, ashes, burn, anything relatable to a fire.
He said burn, you have it recorded.
Unless it's going to be on, it's going to be on his video camera. Right. Now every tour guide is going to tell you about a Great Fire, Charleston, or whatever year it happened in. This fire I just talked to you about is one of the biggest fires we ever had. You're standing on the green dot on this map. Obviously the orange is the fire. It literally went from one side of the peninsula to the other. This was a giant fire. $5 to $9 million worth of damage in 1861.
Oh my goodness.
So, giant fire. So again, that's all the picture pages I have for you for this location. So let's get into the next one. Who had the questions about the children in this game? So there were 4 children total. Charles, we already spoke of. Bless you, by the way. I saw that sneeze. Charles, we already talked about. He signed the Constitution. The next child was Thomas, Revolutionary War hero, fought in the Battle of Camden, shot in his left leg, and captured by the British. After he was released from the British, he was actually left on a cane the rest of his days. I didn't have anything related to Thomas tonight. I'm just giving you all of the clues that I actually look for when I'm going through when Thomas's name does show up somewhere. The next child is the one, by the way, those of you with cameras, you can stop your videos and kind of give your hands a break a little bit. So hit the red square in yours, Steven. And you guys just tap it. It's like a click. Storm, go ahead and turn that down. This is a quiet space for the next one we count. What names did we hear along the way? Did you get George? George? Okay.
What is that?
That's interesting, considering we just found out baby George. No, not yet. We're going to be focused on the red
Something
screen.
cold down there. Just a storm.
Yeah.
Anybody else get anybody names? Stacy, did you get anything?
I didn't hear anything.
None of yours either? Nothing good? Okay. So, the reason why I ask for names, I like to explain the space first. So when we crossed over that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. So it went up Cumberland Street and on the opposite side of East Bay of where we were walking. So this is one of the first streets we ever had. That's why I like to bring you down here. We used to live here. So I have the full list of residents of every person that's ever lived here. It's not a very lengthy list, but I do get the same names over and over and over again. Benjamin and John. Yes, I know another John, right? However, John likes to give us his last name, which was Johnson. Yes, his last name is John Johnson.
That's bad.
It is bad. But the weird thing about this is that when I say people lived here, I'm not talking like there were dozens of houses like lining this whole block. I'm only talking like 2 to 6 people at a time. So, you okay? She probably just wants to sit. So, I'm trying to think if there's another.
You guys had me like me.
You're still running. Did you hit the mute button? We want to keep it muted here just for a few minutes, just because of the hotel room. Somebody might be sleeping. We don't hear anything.
Yeah, if I stand still, my left one hurts. If I learn to keep moving, it does better.
You have 5 people that lived here in 1801. I don't have anything specific about 1801 other than the fact that that's 2 out of 5 people that lived here. Every once in a while I get a third name. The name is Jane. Third person that lives here in 1801. And lately, it's been David. A 4th name that's been here in 1801. Again, I cannot make any of this stuff up, but I will tell you that the Benjamin and John terms that come up are every 6 to 7 weeks. Randomly. Right now we're in like week 2 to 3 of that week. So was I expecting you guys to hear Benjamin and John? Not necessarily, but I never know what's going to happen. You guys may have heard of David or a Jane, because those 2 like to pop up whenever. But Benjamin and John, the 6 to 7 week loop, here's why I think that's happening. We're walking on Belgian blocks. These things are made straight of granite, coming straight from the earth. You guys all seem like you're pretty in tune with paranormal terms. You've heard the term limestone before. It's basically said to stir things up a little bit. Now they're talking about quartz. The weird thing about granite is that it does not hold an electrical charge. So, Gabrielle, put your device on the ground. Pick a brick and just set it down and let me know if those numbers go above 1.1, which it should not.
2.4.
2.4? You can stand up. We're going to give it a few minutes. No, you're going to leave it on the ground. Yep, just leave it there. We want to see if it actually grows. At times, these bricks will give me an 11.7. I've seen an 8.9. Again, these readings should not be there at all. We're dealing with the stone tape theory, which is basically that the consciousness of the memories of the things that actually occurred here are playing over and over again on a loop. Hence the 6 to 7 week loop that we're getting.
7 again.
7.
Well, that's very low.
That's a 0.7.
Yeah, 0.7. That's all we've got. Yeah.
But again,
Crazy.
with this location, we should not be getting any type of readings at all off of these bricks. The fact that I've gotten them that high, anything above a 1.1, which is the natural EMF that comes off the earth, like that's an anomaly by itself, especially going as high as 11. But we're dealing with that stone tape theory. Is very interesting. There's not a whole lot of answers to it. It's just I've been studying it now for probably the past 5 or 6 months, trying to make sense of it. Just like every other paranormal investigator out there, it's very complicated. You have to know your stones. You have to know what's going on with those stones. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, hence the name Lodge Alley. So we do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons. I'm talking Freemason, Mason, brick. The fact that there's a G in the Masonic symbol, that's an interesting piece considering we heard the name George. So that's very interesting by itself. I'm not going to count it yet until I get something else, but we have gotten the term Illuminati out of the spirit boxes sweeping the radio stations. Here's the weird thing. Who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio, first off? Because you guys know we're listening at DJs and song players, right? The other piece of that is why am I only getting it in this space? Last year it was 6 times, and I've already had it 3 times this year. Verified. One of you guys heard it in real time, and then I verified it the next day. So, again, I can't make this stuff up. I'm not looking for it, it just happens. I stall in this space because I'm just basically waiting for the recordings of the video and the spirit boxes to hopefully capture something that we can catch in the review. And along the way here, we will get those Benjamin and John names on that 6 to 7 week loop. I'm going to take you to another alley. However, I can't take you all the way through it. The reason being is because I've been kicked out. You guys have all the blinky lights and all the noisemakers and that kind of thing. And I'll tell you that story of how I got booted out of there once we get to that space, but I still tell the story because we're going to stir up some activity and hopefully get quite a bit of evidence out of it because we're going to be relatively close to it, kind of like the Big John's to Pinckney Mansion ratio. It's going to be the same principle with that once we start stirring up a little bit of activity. You're going to see a lot of tours moving forward. If there's any tours out tonight, I don't think there has been. I haven't seen anybody out tonight except for us. Apparently we're the only ones working. So if we run into those other groups, I just kind of choose our spot and we'll see what's going to go on from there. But at least just like to let you know, I'm not going to take you through that next alley on purpose. So I'll explain more about that once we get over there. So we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood to get to that location. So those of you with cameras, as we exit, I want you to stop your video. Miss Mary, if you want to take a few snapshots for everybody going down the alley. I hate to say you're going to be the last one out, but turn around as we exit and take a few pictures. We do capture a lot of horrors with Miss Marla's camera in this location. So this is an interesting space all by itself, just based on the video. So again, continue taking the video until we exit. But yeah, let's head up to that next alley. Go ahead and pick up your device. Definitely do not leave that device here. Let's go see if we can capture the spot. By the way, how's everybody feeling? Is everybody okay? Other than just hot? No, it's dizzy.
What's your name, Gabe? Now listen here.
Those of you with the other spirit boxes, go ahead and turn them on.
Wait, I heard something.
Just like that.
Where'd you go?
Just like that.
Sounded like you said Ripley. I don't know. I'm tone deaf.
It sounds like you just might be on a hot spot for a radio station. That's so weird. Alright, let's go ahead and continue on. Everybody else continue listening.
You get any glue?
No.
Oh, it's right there.
Yeah.
Quit.
Gabrielle, you're on fire.
Gabrielle's on
you're
fire.
you're like, boy, you're like glowing.
It's hot.
It's
She's sunburned.
I'm very sunburned.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, that's probably why.
Oh,
You scared me there for a second.
I mean, everybody's glowing, but like you're like whole body's like just real bright, just like.
That's what it is.
Stop it. Gotta give it a second. There you go. Okay, back on. Yeah, how you doing with that? So it's part of the reasons why I say discreetly, they did not pay to get filmed, unlike you guys. You got paid to get filmed, right? You're all rock stars tonight. Ryan, I have not seen your word list in a while. I'm going to take a look at that before I get into the history of the location. Stones, when we were down, that's interesting. And you have Isaac and Eliza showed up while we were at the Pinckney Mansion site. Interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, so the alley behind me is called Philadelphia Alley now. Every ghost tour in town goes down there. Of course, I'm going to tell you this story a lot differently because you're ghost hunting. You need a little bit different detail. And then you nodded your head. Do you already know this story?
We went down this alley today.
Oh, did you go on a tour or just on your own?
Tour.
Okay, so I'm going to obviously get into what this used to be. This used to be called Duelers Alley. This is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. Not all of them, but a good handful. We all talk about one specific duel. And by the way, I will tell you that I'm excited about the name Eliza showing up on Ryan's spirit box while we were still at the Pinckney Mansion site. Told you guys about the number 7 that was showing up earlier. We also had the name Isaac, and that's gonna make a whole lot of sense based on where we're standing. This is when we were talking about 7. This is the story.
Oh.
So, kind of, if you can pay attention to some of the keywords, I'll slow down on. So, we all tell the story of one duel because we can prove it, right? That's the whole reason why we do it. There's a doctor that moves down here from Rhode Island. There's a cop right there at the corner, man. So this is Steve. He moves down here from Rhode Island because he's supposed to get married to his fiancée, Amanda. Amanda just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney that's helping her out with all of this cash. The attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's money, so he tells Amanda to get rid of the doctor. So the doctor moves to Charleston. to prove that he's not just after her money. The doctor's name is Joseph Brown Ladd. His birthday, by the way, is July 7th, 7-7. Just so you know why I always look for the double sevens here. So, when he gets into town, a coachman set him up to be robbed and killed. It wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. But somebody walking by with the name Ralph Isaacs, we had the name Isaac show up on his work list when we were at the Pinckney Mansion site, along with your 7. So again, a little weird. But Ralph, I'm going to stop on him for a second because his initials are the same as where the doctor came from. Rhode Island, Ralph Isaacs. R.I. shows up here a lot. We also got the letter I on his word list, did we not? I think we did, didn't we? Very interesting. Again, I don't know why it's bleeding over so far away. That happened a few nights ago as well. And it wasn't just that spirit box, it was others, multiple. It's just so weird. But anyway,
It's the humidity.
Ralph says, dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside. He's going to try to kill you. But I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there and you'll be safe. So the doctor takes him up on the offer, and the two become friends. The longer the doctor stays here, the more his practice starts to take off. He's making his own money, proving his point that he's not after Amanda's money. So he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor. Every haunted city you will ever visit has a cliched whistling ghost. I guarantee it. I actually have proof, and I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But him and Ralph go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. That's just the way the hierarchy works. They're talking about William III one night because they couldn't sit next to each other, and they're arguing over the new actress that was here. The doctor thought she was great, Ralph, not so much. It gets a little heated when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. They go their separate ways. Ralph, being from here, puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees this nasty ad and he rebuttals with, let's go to Dueler's Alley, we're going to settle this, and somebody's going to die. So they come down, they take their 10 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air, and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend, just wanted to have the courage and bravery to show up to the fight. But Ralph, he has his one shot, sorry Steven, puts it in the kneecap on the doctor. I gotta kill somebody in this story, and you're in front of me. So, the doctor drops to the ground, his friends pick him up, they carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later, after refusing medical treatment. The guy's a doctor, he probably tried to bleed it out himself. So, the campfire ghost story part of this is that as you're walking through the alley, turn on your voice recorders, you can hear the whistling from the doctor. If you're going to do that, I'm going to warn you that every local knows this story. Anybody walking up and down Cumberland Street or Queen Street from the other side throws a whistle down the alley. I do it every single night on my way home to my garage, because my garage is right there, we end right there, which means I have to pass the alley. If my daughter's on the tour with us, we race to see who's going to throw the whistle first. So, again, she's 15 and it's a fun little game to keep her interested in history. Here's how I got booted out of this place. This is the fun part. Oh, by the way, I do have whistles that I cannot debunk from when I used to take my tours all the way through there. But again, I have a lot that I can't because of the locals throwing their whistle. So they also say you can hear gunshots, but I don't have any proof of that. But here's how I got booted out of this place. The end of this alley is different than the side that we're looking at, because the alley didn't always come all the way through to the Cumberland Street side, which means the bricks on the other side are older. Those are sun-dried bricks from slave children. I used to show them off on the tours just to show how far we've come, especially when I have a diverse group of people. We all need to see it because it's a reminder of what we actually used to do. There's a full handprint in one of those bricks at the end, and fingerprint swipes. Those is from a slave child. When I'm taking people on a ghost hunt, everybody wants to put an EMF or spirit box meter near it. Again, that kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. There's no point for us to be doing any of that. It was a matter of me showing off history, not so we can get paranormal activity. The kid's not staring at it. It's right outside a gentleman's dining room window. November 26th of 2020, my group decided they're all going to huddle around that one brick. And again, it's outside a gentleman's dining room window of his beautiful mansion at the end of the alley. He come out screaming. Yeah, I was in the wrong. We'll just put it out there. My daughter was on the tour. She thought it was great because Dad's getting yelled at by one of the neighbors. So, the next day was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour that day. I had worked over 20 years in retail management. I finally had a Thanksgiving off. I'm sure you all can feel my pain on that one. Yeah, right? So, the next day was November 28th of 2020. I got a phone call from the tourism office asking me to go down halfway or reroute my tours. We're allowed to go down halfway, but it's not fair for my groups of 10 to be navigating around 20 to 60 other people from the other tours that love to go down there. So, I decided I'm going to reroute and tell my team, we're going to wing it. I don't believe in this story, but we're going to see what happens. It's a great little pirate story. I'll tell you what I know. Before we leave, I did not tell them who we were going to be investigating. Somebody hears the name Anne on a spirit box, just like the one you're using. Did not tell them we were going to be investigating Anne Bonny, famous female pirate of the golden age of piracy. We get there, I'm like, okay, there might be something there. Maybe we'll see. Somebody else hears the number 300. I don't know what the number 300 means in relative to the story, but we were there on November 28th of 2020. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th of 1720, the exact 300-year anniversary of her pirate trial. So again, I take you guys there night after night in hopes, roll the dice, that we're going to capture something from Anne Bonny or the crazy whopper of a story that I put together based on multiple resources, because again, it's pirate lore. So that's where we're going to head next. Has anybody heard or seen anything on their cameras before we move on? Yeah, have you heard anything? Nothing? Anything pop up on Ryan's list, Marla, that you can see?
Anger.
Anger? Oh yeah, there's an argument, obviously, going on down here. Yours has been muted. Yours has been muted. Anything on yours? What was it?
Veil.
Veiled. Almost like a wedding veil? Like V-E-I-L?
Yeah, I-L-D.
It's like a wedding veil. He was engaged. We'll see. I don't have the dates of that engagement or when their wedding was supposed to be. I've looked into it. So, nothing super specific. So, we're going to move on and see what's going on with this crazy female pirate. Those of you with cameras, if you want to continue recording, you can do so. I could take that. There's going to be a garbage can along the way if you want to get rid of it. So, actually, let's head up and go see what we can find out.
There and that thing.
What was it?
Come back here with your camera.
Come on, they're going, Stacey. Come on, we need to go. Come on. Come on.
Another parking lot. You see anything over here? No. What's that? Did you see anything?
I need to cruise.
Steve is bringing up the rear. Alright, so. Welcome to the Powder Magazine, everybody. Is that Mary trying to pass through? So, this little building is the one we're going to be discussing. Where's my REM pod? Miss Gabrielle. Go ahead and make sure you turn that REM pod on while we're here. The white button first, then the antenna. So, we're going to be discussing the building really quick, and then we're going to get into our crazy pirate story. So, I'd like to give you the history of the building. I'm sure you guys all noticed I'm all about the history and make sure it's factual. Well, you should have noticed that there was crosses on this building. First off, those are not crosses. Those are earthquake bolts. Basic gist of earthquake bolts is if we have another one, like what we did in 1886, which we have not, they're turnbuckles. So you can turn them, and it's supposed to straighten the building back up after an earthquake to help with the damage of the building. It's a great idea, it just doesn't work. So the only reason I bring these up, it's the oldest set of earthquake bolts we have, because this is the oldest government building we have in South Carolina. It was finished in 1713. We are here because this is a familiar building. The whole point of this story is because it's kind of like using a toy to attract a child. So if you know anything about the paranormal, about trying to attract things like limestone, again, this building was being construction at the same time that Anne Bonny came to Charleston to start the pirate party. Wow, she's super.
Yeah, she is.
Why I don't like the groups, it's funny. With that said, I'm going to break right into the pirate story because there's a lot going on here. And again, we're sweating to death. You guys don't want to hear all about the crazy Charlestown walls and stuff anymore. So, pirates, let's do this. 1708, which is in the middle of this building's construction. A young lady moves here from Ireland. Her name is Anne Cormack. She moves here with her father and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. Is everybody with me so far? There's a couple of little twists and turns on this. The three of them are running away from his wife from Ireland to land here. So they land in Georgetown, which is just north of here in between us and Myrtle Beach. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to Charlestown to sell anything from that plantation to keep things afloat, which is, again, why we're here. Now, Anne back home in Ireland, kind of a badass. They say she actually killed one of her servants when she was only 10 or 12 years old with a knife to the belly. So again, kind of keep that mentality of this young lady throughout the entire story. We're going to fast forward. This building was done in 1713. Pirates are coming through town in 1715, and Anne falls in love pretty quickly. Guy number one. Yes, I'm going to keep tally because there's a handful. Guy number one turns out to be James Bonny. You can already see where this one's going, right? Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack is now Anne Bonny, the most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. But this guy, oh, that came through with a voice. I heard it.
I think it said you're welcome.
Now, when they get down there, she realizes that this guy, James Bonny, her new husband, is not the swashbuckling, rum-drinking Captain Jack Sparrow that you guys all think of when you think of pirates. Which is actually what she wanted, but this guy's a privateer, which means he's a spy for the British. This guy's a coward. This is not who she wants. A few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, a.k.a. Calico Jack. This is the real person that they actually based Captain Jack Sparrow's character off of, just so you know who this guy is. Calico Jack, he actually has his own ship and wants to be part of it, but you can't put a girl on a pirate ship. Why? Girls curse pirate ships. They're bad luck. So he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy and hide your gender, you could be a female in my quarters. Of course, he's the captain. That's how that's going to go. We're all adults here. Let's put two and two together. Oh, by the way, she was okay with her being cross-dressed as a guy because her dad used to hire her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's like, whatever, let's be a pirate. But she's eventually, what's going to happen is she's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant, right? You can't have a pregnant pirate guy on the crew. Somebody's going to figure out that she's a female. So he says, all right, we got to handle this. He drops her off in Cuba. He says, these are friends of mine. They'll help you deliver the baby. Come back later. We'll figure it out. Okay. So she comes back, but there's no baby. We have no idea what happened to this child. So again, that is up for grabs on whatever actually happened there, but she's dressed like a girl. She doesn't care anymore about hiding her gender. This makes Jack angry. While she was away giving birth to his child, he captured another pirate crew, and those pirates are down below deck. Anne's gonna go flirting, because that's what Anne does. Guy number three. Guy number three that she's flirting with turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack just captured. So now we have two females dressed like males trying to be pirates on the same ship. This young lady's name is Mary Reed. So her and Mary become friends, possibly lovers, because we'll never know for certain, and she becomes part of the crew. The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to come take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only two pirates not drunk enough to come up and fight with their one-bullet flintlocks because they probably don't know how to use the cannons yet. So, obviously this one ship is going to be taken by the British that's come to take them down. As they're being arrested, she looks at her captain, her beau, Calico Jack, and says, you should have fought like a man instead of being hanged like a dog. The word dog being very prominent here, obviously for spirit box work. So, the judge, his name is Nicholas Laws. If you guys hear my name, it's usually not me, it's one of three Nicks around this location. The second one being the judge that I'm about to tell you about. He wants to see the two men that fought back so valiantly after he's done tried Calico Jack and the drunken pirates that wouldn't come up and fight. So they're dead and gone. Two ladies go in front of the judge, they reveal their gender. He doesn't care that they're female. He's still going to hang them because they're still pirates. We plead our bellies was the last thing they said, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. Go ahead and reset that thing because you're getting all kinds of weirdness.
I keep hitting the button.
You can't hang a pregnant woman in 1720, which is why they were both claiming to be pregnant. So he delays the hanging and sends them both back to jail. Dad is still here in Charlestown area with all of his Irish money. He bails her out. She remarries. That's husband number two because James Bonny was the only other husband. Guy number 4, because yes, we're going to count Mary Reed. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. I'm seeing blues, purples, and reds over there. So that's Anne Bonny's abrupt ending. Mary Reed, she dies a year later in 1721 from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. Now, the only 2 things that I can give you as far as a set of questions that I can actually prove, and everything else is fair game. We want to see if we're looking for direct responses in this location. But 2 questions anybody can ask. The name of Anne Bonny's parents, that's the father and the mistress, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So, those are the 2 questions I'm going to give you. Everything else you can ask whatever you want to. It's fair game. It's an open forum at this point. You guys know
Anybody
what you're
named
doing?
Will?
Yeah, actually. Did you get the
Heard
name Will?
Will,
Her
yeah.
father's name was William Cormack.
Okay, well, Will was on my walkie-talkie.
So, do we have any names going on
Whatever it
online?
is.
It just says wisdom.
That would be me. No, I'm kidding. But as far as
I
like,
hear Will again.
we're gonna see if Mom's name shows up. So, those of you with cameras, you can go to the front of the powder magazine if you want to go check it out. That would mean you have to exit the lot and go up this way. You'll see the gates. Obviously, put the cameras right inside the gates. If you want to.
You don't have a camera.
Supposed to say, what are our questions?
Huh?
I said, what are we supposed to ask them? I already forgot. Oh, wait. It said wait. Tell me to wait. Or it said will again. I heard the word wait.
Well, just tell her when you go back.
Okay. Hey, wait. Wait, Will. Wait, Will.
Okay, just stop right in here. Where are you, Will?
You
We're
said,
looking
wait,
for you.
Will. What was Will waiting for? William. What was William waiting for?
What was her name?
Was it Anne?
Ann? Is it Ann?
I think so. Anne? Yeah. I think it said yeah. Anne, are you there? Anne. William. William, Anne. William and Anne. Said no. It's not William and Anne over here, it's somebody else.
Let's go back over there. Here comes the group. Let's go back.
Good question.
I would say wait, Will. Said wait, and it said Will. I heard that plain as day, I think. Did you hear it?
Something.
Saying wait again. Mine's saying wait to here.
Lucas.
Ryan, come here.
The other colors, blue, purple, and red.
Yeah. We've gone up to 31.
No, you did not.
Ryan,
This is not a space we normally get.
31.5. I think wheels around, William.
Holy cow! Like this is not the Pinky Man.
Yeah.
Sorry, I should have kind of gave you that. If you get anything, let me know. Like I won't expect anything. The 31.5. Holy cow! How's this go? I want to see Ryan's word list. Ryan,
So Lucas came up.
What about Lucas? I heard Lucas just in.
So you've heard Lucas.
Yeah.
And we have it on the word list too.
Yes.
I heard
And the
Lucas.
consultant is on there too.
Who is
So
Lucas?
here's the funny thing about Lucas. So you all know that that's Eliza's maiden name. Her husband is buried across the street. So at times I will get things relative to Charles or Eliza, even though Eliza's not here. It's almost like Charles is giving us clues about his wife. Like I'll get 70 because that's how old she was when she died. We hear Philadelphia over here all the time. We get all kinds of little tiny clues. Stacy, we're all focused on you, girl. It's about you. So the second night I was using that device that Stacy has, just so everybody knows why I get so excited about it, I just told the pirate story that night, and we hear the word pirate as I'm wrapping things up. That person's close to the thermal imaging camera, and it said it clear as day. Pirate. It wasn't like part of a conversation. It was like a single word, pirate. I'm like, who the hell's saying the word pirate unless it's a baseball game, right? We caught it on the thermal imaging audio. It was beautiful. That's why I love that device so much, because again, what we do get out of it, we've gotten both names of the parents here before. We've gotten the word gun out of it with Philadelphia Alley.
Wouldn't wait for you.
Oh, Brian, I wanted to see your list. Let me see your phone, buddy. Let me take a look, buddy. Still like stones over here over. Alright. Melanie, you getting any terms out of yours? Okay. Give us another minute. Any other readings out of the other device? You're like double fisting right now. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing out of yours either?
It just comes from her.
You seem restricted. Which is fine. That's why we're recording.
It'll come from you.
Click that button. What's in your pouch there? You got any electronics? What's that?
Wait.
And her phone.
And my phone.
I wasn't trying to be nosy. I just want to know if you had electronics in there. Make it look like that. But you're not vaping. It's only going to give you a signal if it's actually hitting. That's enough. I'm excited about that 31. Like, holy cow. That's huge for this location. Alright. I'm going to start showing you guys the answers. Gather around. And then I'm going to show you a piece of evidence that I caught here with the new full spectrum camera that MARLA has. Because it's something everybody should see. It's amazing. I'll show you that first because that's really exciting. So everybody kind of gather around so I can play this video. That way you guys can actually see it. So this is good. Obviously you recognize where we are, exactly where we are. But this is me showing somebody how the lasers would work with that specific camera. But watch right here that comes up right behind me. You guys can see that. I know it gets a little dark. It's going to come up here in just a second.
What is that?
Changes direction, has different speeds, and it exited within the frame of the video. So normally if something comes in from outside the frame and then exits, that's a bug, omitted automatically. But if it disappears right in the middle of the frame, obviously we have something else going on. Then I look at, did it change direction? How big was it? Those are the kinds of things I'm looking for in your video, just so you know. Oh, the thermal, you guys want to see craziness from this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you do, Steven. So I had to take still shots. Like these are progressive still shots because it was an 8-year-old girl that had it. So it like literally looks like this as she's walking by. But I noticed this blue dot right here. Watch how it gets bigger. And then starts taking shape.
Yeah.
Sorry, I went a little quick there. Notice how the coldest part on that is the face. So that was the, I think at the one point, and yeah, and it was walking. Like you can see it walking. And there's always one of us in view, which is why I told Stephen to keep somebody in view, because our skin temperature, that blue person should have been our color. Does that make sense to everybody? So that's what you guys are looking for when you're going to your data in the morning.
That's here?
Yeah. No, that was actually at the Big Red Barn.
Oh.
So, Anne Bonnie, this is one of the, what was that?
23.7. No,
What are you doing? Like, you need a job. Remind me to write that one down. Like, that's huge for this space. Anne Bonnie, one of the few pictures I could find of this young lady with a shirt on. I get a lot of teenage boys on this group, and and the reason why those shirts or the pictures of her are topless is because she used to show a breast to the men that she just killed to show that they were just killed by a woman. Again, I told you she was pretty badass. So again, everybody likes to kind of depict her as kind of like the voluptuous vixen, and she was the hero, and of course I just made her out to be a hero in your story, so of course I love this picture for you guys. The name of her parents were William Cormack, that we already heard, and then Mary Brennan. None of you were expecting a secondary Mary, by the way. Mary Reed was the friend lover, and then we have Mary Brennan, the mom. So again, we didn't get Mary that came out of that. I also like to show you Calico Jack. Calico Jack, and then we will wrap this up, because it looks like Miss Mary. Oh, is that not Miss Mary? No. I don't know where she went up.
She told me, she said,
Right where we're standing. She's probably right up in front.
oh.
Calico Jack. He was named Calico Jack because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the British captains that he killed. It was, again, Fancy Jack, basically is what that means. So, the name of his ship was called the Kingston. Am I expecting Kingston to come through a spirit box? Not unless it's from the disembodied spirit box that Miss MARLA was using. Or, I'm sorry, Miss STACEY was using. But again, if the word King shows up on another spirit box, I get excited about that if it's a direct answer of what was the name of Calico Jack's ship, King. I'll take it. So again, it's about all you're going to get out of that, because it's a very old name. So what was that last number? And then we're going to start collecting devices. 21.7 again?
I forgot
Like
to
7
ask
with
what
another
the
number in
ship
there?
was called. Maybe he would answer me.
Alright, so as I collect
What was
devices,
your
you guys
ship
can ask
called?
me directions, you can ask me many questions if you'd like
Your
to.
ship. What was it called?
But I do want to get Miss GAE set up. The way she can get over to Miss Mary so you can help her. Thank you again. I will text you in the morning.
Bye.
It's been fun. Are you seeing any blue
I'm
stuff?
going to go around the horn and start collecting. We're going to leave yours going in case something else pops up. Craziness. Nice work, by the way. Spirit box is running too, so let me see what Ryan's got on his spirit box real quick. He's still on began. So we had 65 terms. Again, a little light for this device. Normally we get about 75 in the time frame we were together. But again, there's definitely some relative terms in there that hopefully will link up to some of the other terms that were heard in real time or what I'll capture in the morning. All right, Steve, I'm taking it back, man.
Okay.